Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at the differences and similarities between product design and UX design. So when I got started, I thought I loved UX design. After a while I actually realised it was product design that I loved. So I understand the confusion. It is a very confusing thing. Are there different responsibilities? Is there different skills required? Let's get into it. You're probably here because you want to land a position as a UX designer or product designer, but you're unsure which to look for or just which to call yourself. Now, they are in the early stages, UX design more so. The term itself was actually only coined in 1993 by Don Norman. User experience encompasses all aspects of the end user's interaction with the company, its services, and its products. So what this means is, you're going to identify the consumer touchpoints within something, product or service. Once identified, you can manipulate that environment. Now, you can't actually create an experience. That's something that each individual feels differently. They might feel it more powerfully or less powerful. And it also may be a completely different emotion that they feel. So let's say it could be a function with an app, or it could be, for instance, packaging. Like with Apple iPhones, when you open it, that is an experience that they have manipulated. Don Norman was actually the one who came up with the idea of user experience from that. The term UX designer and product designer are quite interchangeable. Now, depending on where you look, the job postings may say pretty much the exact same responsibilities for both, but in certain circumstances, they're actually quite different. So, this is a standard job posting for a user experience position and the responsibilities that holds. I'm going to assume that you've already looked through a few, as you're probably looking for a position in this, so I will just come back in a moment and I'll summarise all of this for you. I have summarised the responsibilities of a user experience designer position, and it reads: user-centred approach, aligning user experience with business goals, executing user-centred design, creating personas and user journeys, gather insights into user needs, and produce concepts and designs. So I'm going to do the same for product designer, and then we're going to cross-compare them and find the similarities and differences. So now I have summarised the responsibilities of a role as a product designer. That reads: iteratively improve user experience, take new features from ideation to prototyping to user testing to production, execute on the product roadmap and help define product strategy. As you can clearly see, no responsibilities are the same, but in the field of user experience design and product design, they do the same things. Product designer do the things that user experience designer does, but more. Now, if you look into it further, you can see that a product designer has more of a broad approach. They see the whole production from start to finish, while the user experience designer just focuses on one specific area of the design, and that is how the users feel. But the product designer is how it looks, how it feels, what are the actual user needs, what are the features that need to be implemented, and how are they going to be implemented. So they're not necessarily interchangeable, but if you do UX design, you probably do elements of product design too. And if you do product design, then you definitely do areas of user experience design too. Do these two roles require different skills and experience? Well, as I've explained, a product designer takes more of a broad approach. They do everything the UX designer does, but more. They see the production from the start ideation to discovering what the user needs are to actually implementing the product. So they do sometimes require different skills and experience. A product designer usually needs experience in UX design so that they can actually see the production from start to finish, otherwise they're not going to understand how it's actually working. So now we're going to look at the typical corporate ladder for both different positions. As you can see, the typical corporate ladder for a user experience career is it starts as a junior UX designer, and then you go through to a UX designer, just the standard role. And then you may become the senior UX designer, then design manager, senior design manager, and the design director, so the head of the whole design. However, a career ladder for a product designer is slightly different. Now, this difference is they usually start as a UX designer because they need that fundamental understanding. So from that position as a UX designer, they can go on to be the product designer, and then a senior product designer, product manager, senior product manager, and then the product director, so that'll be like the CPO. Whether it's user experience design or product design that you want to get into, there are areas of study that you need to research. These typically are business, psychology, wireframing, user-centered design, and much more. As you can see, both roles are pretty much identical. So if you're a UX designer, you probably do product design. If you're a product designer, you probably do UX design. And now, if you're neither, you can pick whichever one you want, okay? Call yourself a UX designer, call yourself a product designer. Obviously, whichever your company gives you. Don't think about it too much. If you want to see more videos like this, hopefully weekly content on these subjects, please consider subscribing. Thank you. This has been Baron Erish from Root of Innovation. Bye.